Real Magic by Dean Radin is a scientific exploration into human abilities that we currently consider to be magic because they lie beyond the limits of time and space. But what do we mean by magic anyway? The author is not talking about pulling a rabbit out of a hat or other sleight of hand tricks. He's talking about using the scientific method to push the boundaries of what we know about our consciousness and our place in the universe. This scientific discipline is in its infancy, but we must remember that many things that we take for granted today would be considered magic to our ancestors. Having a little rectangle in my pocket that allows me to instantly communicate with someone on the other side of the planet is impossible for someone from ancient Greece to understand. The same can be said about these non-material aspects of our consciousness that we currently consider to be magic. Radin argues that not only is stuff like seeking knowledge from the future, manifesting, and communicating with non-physical entities possible, but that this is the next step in our evolution and something future humans will be able to use and manipulate at will, just like I take for granted that I can plug into the electricity coming out of my wall whenever I want to keep using my magic rectangle. I recommend you check the link in the description and grab the book yourself to get a more in-depth understanding of these concepts, but in this video we will outline the 5 most important lessons from this book and make sure to stick around because the last one is the most important. Alright, let's dive in. Humans are deeply hardwired into the belief in a purely materialistic worldview. This point of view has moved our species forward in profound ways, but perhaps there is more to existence than the material world we've gotten so good at analyzing. Any serious attempt to dive into quantum physics will elucidate the fact that we don't actually know what's going on. The double-slit experiment alone is enough to make you question our current understanding of the nature of our reality. Going along with that, we don't know what consciousness is, where it comes from, or what its purpose is. We are conscious in this body, so we feel like we have a grasp over our consciousness, but we really don't. We don't even know if our questions about it are in the right ballpark. Maybe it's generated by the brain, and when we die, consciousness disappears as well. Or maybe the brain is more of an antenna that tunes into a universal source of consciousness, and when the body dies, it goes back to its source. The first step is to acknowledge that our current understanding of reality and ourselves is very limited and to accept the possibility that there is more to reality than the physical world we process with our senses. We can start by having an open mind and accepting that our current level of understanding is not the end of the road. If you want to learn to practice magic, you must first consider the possibility that your thoughts can interact and exert some sort of influence on the outside world, or perhaps even past that, beyond the confines of time and space. Take a look at the scientific studies that Radin and his team are working on if you need some more concrete proof. We are unconsciously running the script that has worked for our ancestors for countless generations. We feel like a separate conscious entity that interacts with an external world, so we focus our thoughts and our energy on manipulating the physical world for our survival. This conditioning has worked really well for our species, and that's why we face both internal and societal resistance to anything that doesn't fit these limited parameters. However, a prerequisite for these non-physical powers to be possible is to realize that this sense of separateness is an illusion. We are not separate from the universe but a component of it. The same force that moves the Milky Way galaxy across the cosmos or forms stars and planets is also active in you. It is this same force that makes your heart beat and gives you the capacity to think. People have called this animating force many names throughout the ages, but whether you want to call it God, the Tao, consciousness, or all there is, we must accept that there is some sort of animating force in the universe and that we are one with it. This force is not only beyond our individual level of consciousness, but beyond time and space altogether. It is infinite, beyond any duality, beyond the capacity of our ego-based logical mind to grasp. Manifesting, divination, and theurgy are all allowed under this paradigm because as a part of this whole, we can learn to tap into that higher level of consciousness that lies beyond our physical bodies. For example, manifesting should be possible because the physical world emerges from and is modulated by this force. Our personal will also emerges from this force, and thus it can also create and modulate physical reality, even if it's to a much smaller extent due to the inertia of the universe. However, the scientific understanding of these concepts is still in its very early stages. Perhaps the concept of intention and the urge to accomplish an abstract goal is an entirely human invention. We still don't understand how any of these powers work, just that they're theoretically possible and that those who have eliminated the sense of a separate ego have experienced them firsthand. Our logical mind, our ego, the voice in our head, creates a mental filter that colors every aspect of our reality. It filters out what it deems to be irrelevant and responds to our immediate needs. It worries about our safety and well-being. It's stressed and anxious about what happened in the past and what might happen in the future. Radin states that these tendencies of the logical mind are incompatible with what's needed to properly experience and perform magic. Moving beyond the confines of your body and of time and space means we could theoretically roam throughout the galaxy, peer into the past or future, or manifest something in the physical world. But the first step to doing that is to silence the logical mind and its illusions to allow us to move towards completely different states of consciousness altogether. This is why a key component in developing these skills is a disciplined meditation practice. This will not only help quiet down your logical mind and help you see reality as it is, but it will also teach you to tap into a different sort of deep inner knowing, a means of knowing that transcends the ordinary senses and rational thought. This gnosis, a type of deep intuition, is what allows us to get in touch with that divine inner spark that all sages and prophets have been pointing to. Check out my step-by-step meditation routine video if you need help cultivating this crucial habit. Once you've accepted that your consciousness is a component of all that is and have developed the capacity to quiet down your logical mind, you are ready to test these concepts in your own life. The practice of magic requires two simple skills: clear intention and focused attention. The strength of the magical outcome is modulated by your belief, capacity for imagination, emotion, and clarity. If you can set very clear goals, concentrate on them, and unquestionably believe that the goals have already manifested, but the physical reality of time and space just needs to catch up, then they will. This openness to the idea that the desired outcome has already been achieved, but detaching from it and letting it happen on its own is a requirement for this to work. That's why moving beyond the logical mind and beyond the confines of time and space is a prerequisite to performing any of these magical acts. For example, if you write a clear goal on a piece of paper in the present tense as if it has already been achieved, imagine that the surface you're writing on represents universal consciousness. The ink represents your unconscious, and that the act of writing casts your intentions onto the force that creates and sustains reality itself. You will be well on your way. Once you've done that, review it daily so that it gets ingrained in your unconscious. Keep the chatter of your logical mind out of it and maintain secrecy so that others don't have a chance to insert their fear-based conditioning into your goal. When it works, accept the outcome with gratitude and see if you can try something a bit more challenging next time. These powers are beyond anything human, so they are also beyond our concepts of morals and ethics. Good and evil are human inventions based on our dualistic view of reality. But as a part of that human tribe that exists in this physical world, that means we have a responsibility to use these powers constructively, and we shouldn't take them lightly. As you work your way through the steps outlined above, you will naturally move towards universal consciousness, and non-physical phenomena like synchronicities, psychic perception, or manifestation will start to increase. These powers can be intoxicating, but there's a reason why there are so many myths and stories about someone being corrupted and consumed by a great power they were unable to handle. Remember that with great power comes great responsibility. You don't want to become a real-life golem. You shouldn't go looking for something or try to change the physical world if you haven't done the upfront work outlined in this video. You're only trying to create change based on your ego-based desires, or you're unprepared to deal with the consequences. The universe will respond to your thoughts and intentions, but be careful what you wish for. You could encounter an entity that scares your pants off, or you could inadvertently alter your physical reality in a way that causes damage to yourself or loved ones. This is why a lot of people choose to see these phenomena as signposts of an evolving consciousness, but purposely leave them alone. You will come to a fork in the road where you will notice these forces and see the inherent power in them. Will you let yourself be intoxicated by them and potentially corrupt yourself and create irreparable consequences to your physical reality? Or will you see them as a nice bonus of transcending the confines of the self and a yardstick that you're on the right track to spiritual enlightenment? Only you can answer this for yourself, but we must remember that while yes, you can affect the physical world with these powers, what you're really seeking is non-physical. Nothing in the external world will provide you with love, happiness, or fulfillment. All of those things can only be found within yourself, and using these concepts and abilities as a way to cultivate that deeper understanding of yourself will do much more for you than anything you might be able to influence externally. So tread lightly, and don't say I didn't warn you. There are many more specific details in the book that we weren't able to cover here, including scientific studies, a detailed history lesson of magic, and some specific step-by-step instructions for trying magic for yourself. I highly suggest you pick it up for yourself to learn more. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And make sure to check the description for more resources. Until next time, safe travels.